James Harden reminded me why everybody in Philly wanted him gone. For real. Now, thinking about it, hindsight 2020, it was the right move to let go of James Harden. The issue was you let go of James Harden, an aging player without championship level experience or championship pedigree, and then you sign Paul George to a max extension, who's essentially the same exact guy. That was my issue with it. But games like this remind me why I wanted James Harden out of Philly ASAP, no Rocky. This is why. Because he can have a game one, a game two, early in the series where he's flat out amazing. He is freaking box office. One of the best players in the world. And then when the games get tight, when the series goes past 5 games, we see who James Harden really is. And that's what we saw. A guy that in the biggest moments, he chokes and he folds, bro. That's what happens. And James Harden makes Joel Embiid look like Michael Jordan in the playoffs. I mean, James Harden is one of the biggest playoff chokers in my lifetime. I would actually say the biggest playoff choker in my lifetime. I'm 24 years old, born in 2001. I don't know a playoff choker like James Harden. I don't. I know guys that are similar. Aaron Judge, Lamar Jackson. This one guy I'm about to say, he isn't as great in the regular season as Harden or Lamar, these guys. But the premise is still the same, Justin Herbert, where in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, you just like, you can't recognize the player. I mean, James Harden, like in these big games, you don't recognize the player at all. And going 2 for 8 shows me that he quit on his team. Going 2 for 8 shows me that he quit on his team. That's what he did. So games like this really show me, oh, that's why we all wanted James Harden gone. That's why we just wanted this guy gone by any means necessary. We wanted that guy gone. Again, the issue was, again, y'all signed Paul George to a max extension. That's why I've said, if you were going to sign Paul George to a max extension, you might as well have just re-signed James Harden, because they're the same guy. They're the same guy. They are. I would just say that Harden he gives you a higher floor in the regular season than Paul George, because a guy in James Harden, literally in the playoffs, going into the playoffs in the regular season, I might add, he always gets you there. Always. So ultimately, bro, like I would just say that James Harden is a guy that I feel bad for. I feel bad for James Harden in some aspects, because the beauty of sports is that you can rewrite your narrative. LeBron James, after 2011, we saw him rewrite his narrative. From the guy that choked in the finals against the Mavericks, we saw a guy go into Boston down 3-2 and flip that switch, and now we're looking at him as the second greatest player of all time at worst, and a lot of people say the GOAT. He's my GOAT, the best player I've seen, but he rewrote his narrative. A guy in Peyton Manning was looked at as a playoff choker. He rewrote his narrative. There are so many instances. Rory McIlroy, I don't even watch golf like that, but he was a guy that come to Masters, he be folding, he be choking. He rewrote his narrative. So I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for James Harden, because in sports, you have the ability to rewrite your own narrative. And time after time after time, James Harden always folds. I mean, it's bad. And what I don't respect about James Harden is that he was not available for the media. That pissed me off. That pissed me off. Because if James Harden had 30 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, and they won, he's going to be the first guy on the podium. But they lost. He had 7 freaking points, and he's nowhere to be found. That's weak. That's weak. And I can't respect it. And so I got 2 more points. Oh, really 1 more point on James Harden. I'm confused why Lamar Jackson fans feel disrespected when we compare Lamar Jackson to James Harden. Aren't they both all-time great players that come to playoffs, don't do what they do in the regular season? Isn't that the definition of the careers up to this point of Lamar Jackson and James Harden? MVPs. When they're on their game, they're the best player in the world. For real. 2018 Harden was the best player in the world. Come postseason time, he not that same player. Lamar Jackson could have won his 3rd MVP. You're lying to yourself if you believe that in that Bills game, that was a MVP performance by Lamar Jackson. And they're both all-time great players. That's why when Lamar fans are like, oh, Lamar isn't James Harden, you do realize James Harden is an all-time great player. I mean, he is a dual-threat player. Harden can score, he can pass. Lamar Jackson, he can throw, he can run. But in the playoffs, in the biggest moments, they don't show up at their apex. That's the definition of what they do. Now, I will be honest and keep it a buck and say, all right, what Harden is doing now is much worse than what Lamar has done. But Lamar has had some playoff stinkers. He's had some playoff stinkers. He has. And James Harden has had some playoff stinkers. You can put Aaron Judge in there. Right now, you can say that Aaron Judge is the best player in the world. And I don't think anybody would say, nah, you're capping. Right now, is he playing the best? Yeah. But come postseason time, is he the same player? He hasn't been. And the same rule applies. You can always rewrite your narrative. You can. You can. So maybe next season, Lamar Jackson rewrites his narrative. Maybe this postseason, come the fall, Aaron Judge rewrites his narrative. That's the beauty of sports. Oh, my last thing on the Sixers, I wanted to say this because I just thought it was funny, but I am dead serious. So the draft lottery is coming up. And I told this girl, I said, if the Sixers get the #1 overall pick, I'm tricking and I'm flying us out the country. I don't even do that. I don't even do that stuff, bro. But like, if the Sixers get Cooper Flag, I'm gonna act out of body. I'm gonna act out of character. Do you know how much money we gonna make off Cooper Flag to Philly? He's gonna revive this franchise. He's gonna revive Philadelphia hoops. Like, he can literally single-handedly lift the curse of when we had all them years tanking and that brought the curse there and the trust the process stuff. The process is over. It's capture the flag, and we need Cooper Flag. We do. Because he's the one guy that we know for damn sure he can be the guy. that turns his franchise around from day one. All the other guys, Dairy Queen, the boys from Rutgers, I'm forgetting their names. They'll be nice. They'll be nice additions, nice pieces, and they could turn to franchise players, but we know for certain Cooper Flag is going to change life. And ultimately, and I've said this before, but this Sixers season is low-key a blessing in disguise, because if you don't win the championship, let's say the Sixers won 50 games and they got bounced in the first round or second round, they would give up their first round pick to OKC. Now, because the Sixers are so ass, they have an opportunity to draft a franchise changer, a guy that can literally change the curse of this Sixers franchise. And if they do that, I would say that this Sixers season, although it has a sour taste now, long term is a success. And that's how I feel about it. That is how I feel about it. Let's talk about the Eagles. Let's talk about them. I find it funny that folks are saying it's a prove-it year for Jalen Hurts. That's so disrespectful. That's so disrespectful. There's a list of quarterbacks that it's their prove-it year. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, guys that in the playoffs haven't gotten it done. Joe Burrow hasn't made the playoffs in consecutive years. Justin Herbert, the whole knock on him was, well, the whole thing that they were saying was, well, if he gets a coach, it's over. He has his coach. What's up? He's still a choker. Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield. Like, there's so many guys, and I'm missing some. Jared Goff. Let's see who you are without Ben Johnson. Let's see who you are without Ben Johnson and Sean McVay. Let's see that. There's so many guys before Hurts. So I would actually say this season should give Hurts the least amount of pressure. The least amount of pressure. Because he's answered every bell. He did. In 2022, the question was, all right, well, y'all got A.J. Brown. Is Hurts going to improve as a passer? He did. He was an MVP candidate, and he got this team to the Super Bowl. And then in 2023, the defense wasn't that good, and they still won 11 games primarily because of their quarterback play. Answered that bell. And then this season was able to be efficient, not turn over the ball, and in the biggest moments, outplay the GOAT of this generation. He answered that call. So this season, there's no pressure. I've done it. Super Bowl MVP, did it. Champion, did it. I put up monster stats. What else is there to prove? Nothing. Now, he's still ultra competitive, and he's still going to think of different ways to motivate himself. And he might look at what some of these analysts are saying and be like, all right, that's going to fuel me. He might look at what these guys are saying about how he's a Saquon Barkley merchant and all this stuff, and he might have to prove that to them. But if we're really being honest, there's nothing for Jalen Hurts to prove. He did it. He's a champion. Let's talk about Jihaad Campbell. I have a couple of things about Jihaad Campbell. When I saw Vic Fangio's face when Howie Roseman told him we got Jihaad Campbell, he looked like the Grinch when Cuz slid down the chimney and it was looting season. Because he had that face that the Eagles just had the steal of the draft. And for Vic Fangio, and in his system, the foundation is fantastic linebacker play. He's licking his chops, bro, saying, oh my gosh, I done got me one. I done got me one. And I'm looking forward to what Vic Fangio and Bobby King, who doesn't give that much love, but he's our linebacker coach, and he's amazing and has done wonders with this unit. I'm excited to see what they do. And I'll say this. I'm confused as to why Jihaad Campbell isn't one of the favorites for defensive rookie of the year. Now, if it's because of his injury, all right, you got me. You got me. But if all things are equal and Jihaad starts week 1 for the Eagles next to Zach Bone, why wouldn't he be in the conversation? I know Abdul Carter. I know, like, all right, Javon Walker, James Pierce Jr., like, all right, I get it. Hell, maybe even Will Johnson, if he gets healthy and he could be something. Like, I'm not trying to say he should be a favorite by a landslide, but to be in the mix, I mean, he'll be on one of the best defenses in the league, mentored by an all-pro. Well, what are we talking about? He's damn sure going to be in the running, just like how Quinyon Mitchell was. And we said last year, Quinyon Mitchell is going to be a defensive rookie of the year candidate. The Eagles actually had 2 rookies, 2, and Coop and Quinyon. Now, I'll give you, like, all right, that's not the norm. I'll be fair and say that. Like, do I expect Andrew Makuba, who we going to talk about a little bit later, and Jihaad Campbell to be, candidates for defensive rookie of the year? I don't expect that. But what I'm seeing on tape from Jihaad Campbell, he damn sure could be in the running, bro. Damn sure could. Let me also say this. Andrew Makuba and Sidney Brown will determine whether trading C.J. Gardner-Johnson was a mistake. When the Eagles first traded C.J. I was pissed off. I was pissed off when they traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson because he was somebody that I just felt had that heart and brought those intangibles that this defense desperately needed in terms of bringing that energy to this unit. Now, by trading CJ, you're saying we either believe in Sidney Brown or we believe hella in Andrew Makuba. That's the thing. Now, if Sidney Brown or Andrew Makuba, if they're lights out, then Howie looks like a genius. Kind of like how he traded Hassan Reddick and Nolan Smith showed up. But in the event that Sidney Brown and or Andrew Makuba don't show up and we feel that loss, there's going to be folks like me saying, I told y'all so. I told y'all so. So one thing, again, I love about sports is that you can be proven wrong or right. You can. Remember when the Commanders fans thought they were going to win and they got 55 on them, a double nickel? It's like you can make up any hypothetical. If this happened, if this didn't happen, you lost and you got blown out. Chiefs fans, they thought they were going to win. They got blown out. Blown out, and Patrick Mahomes pulled a Dak Prescott. There's nothing to say. You lost and got your ass whooped. I'll give the Rams credit because the Rams had me sweating. Like when Puka had that insane catch off his shoulder, I was like, oh, this might be the end. But we won that jump. So it was like each round, all we heard was excuses after excuses after excuses. And now we get to see it all come full circle when there's more excuses. And we're going to have to continue proving them wrong. And part of that is me because I want to see somebody fill in for CJ Garner-Johnson. I want to see that. I want to see that because I'm not convinced yet. Not saying these guys can't do it. It's more belief in CJ. So we will see. Again, like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. I wanted to get an episode for y'all on Cinco de Mayo. I'm about to get lit. And my last thing, it's so hard to pick between the Celtics and the Knicks. I hate both these teams. I hate them so much. Like, the Celtics, like, I despise them more than the Cowboys. It's not even close. The Knicks, I mean, like, they were celebrating Joel Embiid with one eye and one leg. And Maxey still dropped 45 on y'all. And you had Jalen Brunson out here just foul baiting. I mean, how can you dribble past somebody, flick your head back, and that's a foul on the defender? That stuff really pissed me off. And it made me not like Brunson. And I love bro when he was on Villanova. So I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, all right, I don't like Tatum. I don't like the Celtics. I don't like the Knicks. But I'll probably root for the Knicks. Just because I'm in New York. And I ain't gonna lie, if the Knicks end up beating the Celtics, I'm gonna tell you this. The city gonna be jumping. And it's like the Knicks haven't won nothing in decades, like the Sixers. So I'm not threatened by them that much. Now, the Celtics, they're winners. And I despise them for it. That's just being me being honest. So I would actually root for the Knicks. And I hope that they send Tatum, Joe Mazzulla, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, all these guys home. I would love to see that. Again, like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. That was my rant. I'm hating. And I'm glad that I'm hating. As well, come on. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. It is Real Talk with Miles Johnson. I know I always keep it real. I'm out, y'all.